Question 1. How can a brand maintain consistency across digital and physical touchpoints while still allowing for creative adaptation in different environments? Allow each market to redefine the brand voice based on their local customs. B. Use centralized messaging and visual identity to ensure control from headquarters. C. Develop a modular brand system with core identity elements and adaptable local assets. D. Maintain strict brand guidelines to prevent any creative deviation. Correct answer. C. Develop a modular brand system with core identity elements and adaptable local assets. Explanation. A modular brand system enables a brand to retain consistency while remaining flexible. Core identity elements, e.g., logos, tone of voice, ensure alignment, but adaptable modules, e.g., localized imagery or taglines, allow cultural relevance and creativity. This approach is supported by global brand identity best practices, which emphasize both coherence and contextual sensitivity. Question 2. Why is narrative consistency critical when developing transmedia storytelling for a brand? It allows each platform to interpret the story freely for innovation. B. It minimizes the risk of cross-channel content overlap. C. It builds cohesive emotional connections and trust across multiple touchpoints. D. It ensures that content does not deviate from the legal branding framework. Correct answer. C. It builds cohesive emotional connections and trust across multiple touchpoints. Explanation. In transmedia storytelling, narrative consistency ensures that customers encounter a unified story across different platforms. This emotional and thematic alignment helps reinforce brand values, creates immersive engagement, and builds trust. Fragmented or inconsistent storytelling can confuse audiences and dilute brand identity. Question 3. Scenario. Mr. Yamamoto is leading a brand team expanding into new international markets. The brand has a strong identity in its home country, but early feedback from foreign customers suggests the messaging and visual elements do not resonate well in local markets. What should Mr. Yamamoto prioritize to effectively adapt the brand? A. Maintain strict brand guidelines to prevent any creative deviation. B. Allow each market to redefine the brand voice based on their local customs. C. Develop a modular brand system with core identity elements and adaptable local assets. D. Use centralized messaging and visual identity to ensure control from headquarters. Correct answer. C. Develop a modular brand system with core identity elements and adaptable local assets. Explanation. In cross-cultural brand strategy, a modular brand system strikes a balance between global consistency and local relevance. Mr. Yamamoto's situation highlights the importance of cultural sensitivity. Total control from headquarters or full localization risks fragmentation or brand dilution. Modular systems are a strategic solution recommended by international branding guidelines. Question 4. Which of the following best describes how visual identity supports brand differentiation in a saturated market? A. By aligning all elements strictly with competitors' established aesthetics. B. By ensuring brand visuals are subdued and non-intrusive to remain neutral. C. By creating unique, memorable visual cues that align with brand personality. D. By using trending design patterns and widely accepted color palettes. Correct answer. C. By creating unique, memorable visual cues that align with brand personality. Explanation. Strong visual identity differentiates a brand by creating associations that are both memorable and emotionally resonant. It helps consumers quickly recognize the brand among competitors. According to brand identity frameworks, consistency and originality in design, such as distinct colors, logo, and typography, contribute to equity and recall. Question 5. In global brand storytelling, which of the following approaches helps maintain both consistency and local relevance? A. Creating separate origin stories for each regional market. B. Delegating full story control to local agencies. C. Embedding universal themes within culturally adapted narratives. D. Limiting storytelling to the brand's country of origin. Correct answer: C. Embedding universal themes within culturally adapted narratives. Explanation: successful global storytelling balances universal human truths, e.g., aspiration, belonging with localized expressions. This approach allows the core message to resonate across cultures while respecting local norms and values. It aligns with narrative strategy principles and global branding best practices for maintaining equity across markets. Question 6. What is the primary risk of inconsistent tone of voice across brand channels? A. It may reduce SEO performance on digital platforms. B. It can lead to legal implications regarding false advertising. C. It undermines brand trust and dilutes the emotional connection with the audience. D. It encourages user-generated content that contradicts brand values. Correct answer: C. It undermines brand trust and dilutes the emotional connection with the audience. Explanation: a consistent tone of voice is key to building a cohesive brand identity. If a brand communicates in different tones across platforms, such as formal on the website and humorous on social media, it can confuse the audience and weaken emotional engagement. This inconsistency can lead to brand fragmentation and decreased loyalty. Question 7. Scenario: a high-end beauty brand is entering Southeast Asia. Its brand story emphasizes minimalism and Scandinavian wellness, which has succeeded in Europe. However, market research reveals that Southeast Asian consumers value bold aesthetics and aspirational narratives. What should the brand do to retain its core identity while appealing locally? A. Fully adopt local aesthetics and abandon minimalism. B. Reposition itself as a local brand in Southeast Asia. C. Infuse local symbols and aspirations into the brand story while keeping its core essence. D. Launch under a different brand name entirely for the new market. Correct answer: C. Infuse local symbols and aspirations into the brand story while keeping its core essence. Explanation: this is a classic cross-cultural strategy issue. The brand should integrate local cultural cues while preserving the underlying brand values, e.g., wellness, simplicity. This hybrid approach maintains global consistency while ensuring local resonance, which aligns with best practices in international brand storytelling. Question 8. Which of the following is a key indicator that a brand's positioning is not effectively differentiated? A. Consumers cannot recall the brand's price point. B. The brand has low search engine rankings. C. Customers associate the brand with multiple, unrelated benefits. D. The brand's market share has temporarily declined. Correct answer: C. Customers associate the brand with multiple, unrelated benefits. Explanation: lack of focus in positioning often leads to fragmented perception. If customers are confused about what the brand stands for, it implies weak or undifferentiated positioning. Effective positioning clearly defines a brand's unique value proposition and emotional territory in the consumer's mind. Question 9. How does archetype theory aid in developing a brand personality? A. It enables brands to adopt a popular visual design trend. B. It maps brand identity to universal human storytelling frameworks. C. It helps select the most profitable target market segments. D. It ensures the brand complies with IP laws in different countries. Correct answer: B. It maps brand identity to universal human storytelling frameworks. Explanation: archetype theory based on Carl Jung's psychological frameworks, helps define consistent and emotionally resonant brand personalities, e.g., hero, sage, outlaw. Brands that align with archetypes often find it easier to create storytelling that connects with audiences on a deep emotional level. Question 10. In brand architecture, what is the primary advantage of a branded house model? A. It allows for faster localization of individual products. B. It gives each product freedom to establish its own reputation. C. It strengthens the parent brand through consistent messaging. D. It enables discrete testing of new product categories. Correct answer. C. It strengthens the parent brand through consistent messaging. Explanation. In a branded house model, e.g., FedEx, Google, all products or services operate under a single master brand. This fosters brand equity, concentration, and coherent brand experience across offerings. It's especially efficient for marketing and long-term trust building. Question 11. Scenario: you're consulting for a luxury fashion brand planning to expand into Gen Z demographics. Their current storytelling focuses on exclusivity and tradition. However, Gen Z audiences prioritize inclusivity, transparency, and sustainability. What's the best strategy? A. Rebrand completely to appeal to Gen Z values. B. Launch a sub-brand tailored exclusively to Gen Z. C. Evolve the brand story to highlight heritage through the lens of modern values. D. Use influencers to bridge the gap without changing the brand narrative. Correct answer. C. Evolve the brand story to highlight heritage through the lens of modern values. Explanation. The goal is alignment, not abandonment. Reframing existing brand values, e.g., craftsmanship, in ways that resonate with Gen Z, e.g., sustainability, purpose, is the most effective and authentic path. It ensures continuity while embracing generational expectations. Question 12. Which of the following elements is most crucial when designing a brand voice guide? A. A full list of buzzwords used by competitors. B. A detailed legal disclaimer for each platform. C. A defined spectrum of tone use with examples across channels. D. A list of hashtags for trending posts. Correct answer. C. A defined spectrum of tone use with examples across channels. Explanation. A brand voice guide must clearly illustrate how tone and voice are applied in context, email versus social media versus in-store signage. This consistency ensures unified brand communication while adapting to each channel's audience and purpose. Question 13. How can data-driven insights be best used in developing a compelling brand strategy? A. To automate all customer interactions. B. To create messaging strictly based on product features. C. To validate assumptions about customer behavior and inform emotional drivers. D. To replace the need for creative brainstorming. Correct answer. C. To validate assumptions about customer behavior and inform emotional drivers. Explanation. While creativity remains essential, data-driven insights reveal patterns, preferences, and unmet needs that can inform strategy. These insights enable brands to design stories and campaigns grounded in customer reality, increasing emotional resonance and campaign performance. Question 14. Scenario: a fintech startup wants to develop a disruptive brand identity in a conservative market. They want to be seen as innovative but trustworthy. What combination should they emphasize in their branding? A. Use provocative imagery and aggressive slogans. B. Emphasize heritage and tradition to build trust. C. Combine sleek, modern visuals with language that emphasizes security and transparency. D. Mirror competitor branding to signal reliability. Correct answer. C. Combine sleek, Modern visuals with language that emphasizes security and transparency. Explanation. Balancing innovation with trust is key in sectors like fintech. Modern design can position the brand as forward-thinking, while language focused on stability, encryption, and regulatory compliance ensures customers feel secure. This duality is a strategic sweet spot in trust-sensitive industries. Question 15. Why are emotional benefits often more effective than functional benefits in brand positioning? A. Functional benefits become obsolete faster. B. Emotional benefits are easier to communicate visually. C. Functional benefits are hard to measure. D. Emotional benefits create stronger customer loyalty and brand recall. Correct answer. D. Emotional benefits create stronger customer loyalty and brand recall. Explanation. Functional benefits, e.g. speed, efficiency, can be matched by competitors. Emotional benefits, e.g. confidence, belonging, tap into psychological needs and are harder to replicate, thus building deeper connections and long-term brand equity. Question 16. What role does brand storytelling play in crisis communication? A. It allows brands to shift blame to competitors. B. It helps avoid legal responsibility. C. It reinforces brand values and demonstrates authenticity. D. It limits stakeholder access to sensitive information. Correct answer. C. It reinforces brand values and demonstrates authenticity. Explanation. Storytelling in crisis is not about spinning facts. It's about framing the situation in a way that reflects the brand's values, e.g., integrity, accountability. When done transparently, it rebuilds trust and affirms a brand's identity under pressure. Question 17. Scenario. A well-established global brand launches a new product line that contradicts its traditional values. Loyal customers are confused, and new customers don't see relevance. What strategic misstep occurred? The brand underestimated competitor pricing. B. The product lacked sufficient technical differentiation. C. The product launch conflicted with established brand equity. D. There was insufficient influencer marketing. Correct answer. C. The product launch conflicted with established brand equity. Explanation. Consistency between brand identity and new offerings is critical. If a product feels disconnected from the brand's established perception, it creates cognitive dissonance and weakens both loyalty and acquisition. Strategy should evolve logically from the brand's core DNA. Question 18. Which metric best measures long-term brand equity? A. Click-through rate CTR. B. Net Promoter Score NPS. C. Return on ad spend ROAS. D. Impressions per campaign. Correct answer. B. Net Promoter Score NPS. Explanation. NPS gauges customer loyalty and satisfaction over time, which are central to brand equity. Unlike campaign-based metrics like ROAS or CTR, NPS reflects emotional attachment and likelihood of advocacy, critical for sustained brand strength. Question 19. Scenario. A global electronics brand is facing backlash for tone-deaf advertising in a culturally sensitive region. What is the most strategic response to preserve long-term brand equity? A. Immediately take down the ad and issue a vague apology. B. Defend the ad as a creative interpretation and move on. C. Engage cultural experts to review the issue, publicly acknowledge the mistake, and commit to corrective action. D. Redirect the marketing focus to a new product launch to divert attention. Correct answer. C. Engage cultural experts to review the issue, publicly acknowledge the mistake, and commit to corrective action. Explanation. Cultural missteps can significantly damage brand equity. A transparent and culturally sensitive response helps rebuild trust and signals that the brand is listening and learning. A well-managed apology combined with systemic improvements, e.g., inclusive teams, shows long-term commitment. Question 20. Which of the following best describes brand stretch? A. The process of shortening a brand's life cycle for quick gains. B. Licensing a brand for unrelated product categories. C. Extending a successful brand into new but related product categories. D. Launching a competing brand under the same corporate umbrella. Correct answer. C. Extending a successful brand into new but related product categories. Explanation. Brand stretch is a strategy where a strong brand is extended into adjacent categories, e.g., a shampoo brand launching conditioner. It leverages existing equity to reduce marketing cost and improve acceptance, but it must align with core brand values to succeed. Question 21. Which strategic brand asset helps brands build recognition through sensory association? A. Tagline. B. Brand archetypes. C. Sonic branding. D. Annual reports. Correct answer. C. Sonic branding. Explanation. Sonic branding involves the use of audio cues, e.g., Netflix's Ta Dum, to create a distinct sensory connection. It strengthens brand recall, especially in digital and voice-first environments, and can evoke emotional responses that reinforce brand identity. Question 22. What is the key risk of using purely performance-based marketing in a brand-led strategy? A. Performance marketing always generates negative ROI. B. It reduces personalization and data collection. C. It neglects long-term brand equity and emotional engagement. D. It prevents tracking of conversion metrics. Correct answer. C. It neglects long-term brand equity and emotional engagement. Explanation. While performance marketing is important for immediate results, an over-reliance on it can lead to neglect of long-term brand-building efforts. Strong brands create preference beyond clicks. Balancing short-term performance with long-term emotional engagement is vital. Question 23. Scenario. A challenger health brand wants to differentiate itself in a market dominated by legacy players with clinical messaging. What's the most effective branding approach? A. Copy the clinical tone to ensure credibility. B. Focus on customer success stories and holistic wellness. C. Use humor and sarcasm to stand out from the competition. D. Compete solely on price and discounts. Correct answer. B. Focus on customer success stories and holistic wellness. Explanation. Challenger brands can effectively differentiate by humanizing their storytelling and shifting focus from institutional authority to individual empowerment. Emotional storytelling builds connection and offers a fresher, more relatable positioning than sterile, clinical approaches. Question 24. Which of the following is a key attribute of an effective brand purpose? A. It should be broad enough to cover all product categories. B. It must remain entirely static over time. C. It should align with both societal impact and business strategy. D. It must be focused solely on shareholder returns. Correct answer. C. It should align with both societal impact and business strategy. Explanation. A strong brand purpose connects a company's reason for existence with societal value creation. When it aligns with business operations, not just marketing, it creates authenticity and drives loyalty among purpose-driven consumers. Question 25. How does behavioral science enhance brand storytelling? A. It improves financial forecasting. B. It replaces traditional marketing entirely. C. It identifies emotional triggers and cognitive biases that shape consumer decision-making. D. It limits the use of creative metaphors in messaging. Correct answer. C. It identifies emotional triggers and cognitive biases that shape consumer decision-making. Explanation. Behavioral science reveals how consumers make choices, often irrationally, based on emotion, habit, or bias. Understanding these patterns allows strategists to craft stories and experiences that nudge decisions more effectively than facts alone. Question 26. What is a common pitfall of focusing too heavily on visual identity in brand building? A. It leads to higher content creation costs. B. It reduces the need for copywriting. C. It can result in shallow branding without emotional resonance. D. It limits omnichannel scalability. Correct answer. C. It can result in shallow branding without emotional resonance. Explanation. While a striking visual identity helps with recognition, brands must also have substance, core values, purpose, voice, and story to truly engage audiences. Over-prioritizing aesthetics without narrative weakens long-term brand meaning and customer connection. Question 27. Scenario. A fast-growing brand is facing fragmentation across teams. Designers, marketers, and regional teams interpret the brand differently, creating inconsistency. What tools should be implemented to realign execution across all stakeholders? A sales enablement training. B. A dynamic brand governance system with an accessible brand platform. C. Regular brainstorming workshops. D. A dedicated public relations agency. Correct answer. B. A dynamic brand governance system with an accessible brand platform. Explanation. Centralized brand governance with a living, digital brand hub ensures all stakeholders, internal and external, are aligned on brand usage, tone, and visuals. It fosters consistency across touchpoints and geographies while empowering local teams to adapt within set parameters. Question 28. Which of the following KPIs best reflects emotional brand connection? A. Ad frequency. B. Email open rate. C. Brand love index or emotional resonance score. D. Net cost per impression. Correct answer. C. Brand love index or emotional resonance score. Explanation. Emotional metrics like brand love index go beyond awareness or clicks. They capture affinity, loyalty, and the emotional strength of the customer-brand relationship, critical indicators for long-term brand health and differentiation. Question 29. What is a core benefit of developing a clear brand narrative? A. It eliminates the need for media planning. B. It simplifies financial forecasting. C. It provides a consistent strategic framework across channels and touchpoints. D. It guarantees viral marketing success. Correct answer. C. It provides a consistent strategic framework across channels and touchpoints. Explanation. A brand narrative serves as the foundation for storytelling, guiding how the brand communicates across campaigns, platforms, and audiences. It ensures every expression is rooted in the brand's purpose, values, and emotional promise. Question 30. In building a culturally inclusive brand, what is a non-negotiable strategic step? A. Targeting only majority cultural groups. B. Conducting token representation in campaigns. C. Embedding inclusion into brand values and operational practices. D. Using translation software for all localizations. Correct answer. C. Embedding inclusion into brand values and operational practices. Explanation. True inclusion goes beyond surface-level representation. Brands must reflect inclusion in their internal culture, partnerships, product development, and storytelling. This authenticity builds trust with diverse audiences and future-proofs the brand in an increasingly values-driven market.